Good morning, Sparkit Executive Leadership Team, and thank you for taking the time to meet with me today. My name is Coleman Coffey, and as Sparkit's Benefits Administrator, I was asked to evaluate our current total rewards strategy and identify opportunities to improve employee retention within our engineering and support teams. To complete that analysis, I reviewed two primary sources of information. The first was our employee exit interview data, which helped identify why employees chose to leave the organization. The second was a market comparison that evaluated our current total rewards offerings against similar mid-sized technology companies. My objective wasn't simply to identify where Sparkit differs from the market. It was to determine which differences are actually influencing employee retention and to recommend practical changes that align with both employee expectations and our long-term business goals. Today, I'll summarize those findings, explain the recommendations I've developed, and outline a phased implementation strategy devised to maximize the impact of the additional total rewards investment. After reviewing both the market comparison and the employee feedback, three consistent themes emerged if you have a look at the pie chart on this slide. The first relates to our variable pay strategy. Compared to organizations competing for similar talent, Sparkit's bonus opportunities are significantly below market averages. Employees recognize that difference, and several specifically identified bonus opportunities as a reason they accepted positions elsewhere. The second theme involves benefits and well-being. While Sparkit provides a solid foundation of traditional benefits, many employees indicated that our overall package no longer reflects the expectations of a modern workforce. Flexible work arrangements, stronger retirement contributions, paid parental leave, and financial wellness benefits were mentioned repeatedly throughout the exit interview data. The third theme is employee recognition. Although recognition represented a smaller percentage of overall turnover, the consistency of employee comments suggested an opportunity to improve engagement through a more structured recognition program. Taken together, these findings suggest that Sparkit's retention challenges are not driven by one isolated issue. They're influenced by several areas of the employee experience that, when combined, affect how employees evaluate the overall value of working here. Based on those findings, I developed recommendations focused on the four areas that would have the greatest impact on retention. The first recommendation is to strengthen our variable pay strategy by increasing bonus opportunities and expanding performance-based incentives. This recommendation directly addresses both employee feedback and the competitive gap identified in the market analysis. The second recommendation is to modernize our voluntary benefits package. Rather than making broad changes, I focused on benefits employees specifically identified as valuable, including enhanced retirement contributions, paid parental leave, as mentioned earlier, student loan repayment assistance, and also adoption assistance. The third recommendation is to expand our well-being strategy. Hybrid work options, flexible scheduling, and additional well-being resources represent relatively targeted investments that can significantly improve the overall employee experience and keep us modernized in a very competitive workforce and labor market. Finally, I recommended implementing a formal recognition program that includes both manager recognition and peer-to-peer recognition. Recognition programs generally require a smaller financial investment than compensation changes do, but they can have a meaningful impact on engagement and organizational culture when implemented consistently. Collectively, these recommendations address the largest gaps identified in the analysis while supporting Sparkit's broader objective of improving employee retention. So of the $8 million additional budget that we are looking to put into this program, how are we going to break it up? Rather than allocating the additional $8 million evenly across all recommendations, I recommend a phased implementation over the 3-year investment period. During year 1, I recommend investing $4 million, which is half of the budget, toward the areas expected to have the greatest immediate impact on retention, variable pay enhancements, and key benefits improvements. These are the most costly of the enhancements, so they will need a larger upfront allocation of the $8 million. Employees identify these areas most frequently during exit interviews, and they also represent the largest competitive gaps compared to the market. During year 2, I recommend allocating $3 million toward expanding well-being initiatives, including the hybrid work opportunities, workplace flexibility, and additional employee support resources. By this point, employees will have already experienced very meaningful investments in compensation and benefits, allowing the organization to shift its focus more toward improving the broader employee experience. Finally, in year 3, we'll allocate the remaining $1 million toward implementing and expanding the employee recognition strategy. While recognition requires a smaller investment upfront, introducing it after the foundational compensation and benefit changes allows the organization to reinforce a stronger workplace culture while continuing to build employee engagement as we move forward. Overall, this phased approach balances immediate retention priorities with long-term organizational sustainability while allowing leadership to evaluate each phase before expanding additional programs. A successful total reward strategy depends not only on the programs themselves, but also on how those programs are communicated. The communication plan begins with executive leadership introducing the overall initiative and explaining why these changes are being made. From there, managers become an important part of the communication process by helping employees understand how the changes affect them individually and by answering questions throughout the implementation. HR would also support those efforts through digital benefits guides, frequently asked questions, webinars, and ongoing communication as each phase of the implementation is introduced. Equally important is measuring the effectiveness of the strategy after implementation. Participation rates, employee surveys, utilization data, engagement results, and retention metrics will provide meaningful information about how employees are responding to the new programs. That feedback allows Sparkit to continue refining its total reward strategy over time rather than viewing implementation as a one-time snapshot project. In closing, the analysis suggests that Sparkit's current total reward strategy provides a solid foundation, but several components no longer align with employee expectations or current market practices. The recommendations presented today focus investment in these areas that employees identified most frequently while also improving Sparkit's competitive position within the technology industry. By strengthening variable pay, modernizing benefits, expanding well-being initiatives, and implementing a formal recognition program through a phased investment strategy, Sparkit can improve employee retention while creating a more competitive and sustainable total rewards program. Thank you for your time today. I appreciate the opportunity to present these recommendations to you and would be happy to answer any questions that you have. Have a nice day.